Okay, so today is Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, and I want to speak not about the day itself, but about how that day is going to look in the future. And this is a really cool topic that not many people know about. And I think the first place to start when we want to think about how is Shiva Asar B'Tammuz going to look in the future. And what do I mean the future? By the future, I mean right now, let's say Mashiach, but we'll see exactly what this refers to. There is a pasuk in Zechariah, in the Sefer Zechariah, the Navi Zechariah. It's one of the 12 minor Nevi'im, one of the 12 Trei Asar, in which there are people that come to him and say, we have rebuilt the Beit HaMikdash. Are we supposed to keep fasting? And he doesn't really give them an answer, but he does say the following. Let me find the pasuk. So he says, Ko Amar Adonai Tzvaot, thus says Hashem, Tzom HaRevi'i v'Tzom HaChamishi, Yeh lebeit Yehuda v'Tzasom L'Sukkot Moadim Tovim Amet v'Shalom Ehavu. So that's I think it's Tzom HaRevi'i v'Tzom HaChamishi v'Tzom HaShvi'i v'Tzom HaSiri, Yeh lebeit Yehuda v'Tzasom L'Sukkot Moadim Tovim Amet v'Shalom Ehavu. I'm sorry, I left out the second two fasts, right? Zechariah says, there are 4 fasts that will be for the house of Judah, for the Jews, L'Sason u'L'Simcha u'L'Moadim Tovim. They will be happy days, and this is crazy. Zechariah is telling us there are 4 fasts. Fast of the 4th month, the 5th month, the 7th month, and the 10th month. Let's go over what fast those are. What's the 4th month? The fast of the 4th month is this fast, Tammuz, because if Nisan is the 1st month, as you may know, many of the times in which we count the months in the Jewish tradition and in Tanakh, it starts with Nisan as the 1st month. So we have Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz. So Tammuz is the 4th month, right? What's the fast of the 5th month? Right, Tammuz Av. So the fast of the 5th month is Av, Tisha B'Av. So that's Tzom HaRevi'i v'Tzom HaChamishi. Tzom HaShvi'i is Tzom Gedalia, which is in Tishrei, which is the 7th month, and Tzom HaSiri is Tevet. Right, that's the 10th month is Tevet. So Asara B'Tevet, these are 4 fasts which are linked to the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. And Zechariah says, we fast, we cry out to Hashem. At some point, it's going to be Moadim Tovim. They're going to be Yontiv. It's going to be the complete opposite. Va'emet va'shalom ehavu. He says, and the end of the pasuk is, and love, truth, and peace. So what exactly does that mean? So the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, Daf Yudchet, talks about how there are basically a few times during the year when we send out messengers to places all over the Golah, all over exile, to let them know when we decided that there was going to be a new month. So one of the examples given is Av, right? We go out to Bavel, for example, to announce what day Rosh Chodesh Av is, so that people know when to keep Tisha B'Av. The Gemara asks, but wait a second, what about Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, right? And we answer that when the Mishnah was written, they didn't actually keep Shiva Asar B'Tammuz because, and the Gemara here goes into the rules and says, when there is shalom, as the pasuk says, when there is peace, and we don't really know what peace means. I'll get into that in a second. When there is peace, then there's no fasting. Then you don't keep Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, for example, right? But if there is Gzeirat Malchut, if the government oppresses Jews, then you should fast. If there's both, meaning if there's no war, there's peace, but there is oppression from the government, it's up to you. You get to decide, except for Tisha B'Av. Okay, so there's a machloket between Rashi and the Ritva and the Ramban about what shalom means. What does it mean when the Gemara says, if there is peace, there is no need to fast, right? I mean, I think it's pretty peaceful right now, and yet I'm fasting. I'm here in Sugar Grove. It's pretty peaceful. There's no war. Jews are being treated pretty fairly here, and yet I'm still fasting Shiva Asar B'Tammuz. So Rashi in Rosh Hashanah says, in Yad HaGoyim Takes, that it's that that there's no oppression from the government. So, for Rashi, this would be totally fine. This would be a time of peace, and we would actually not fast, which is crazy to think about. The Ritva, which is based on the Ramban in Torah Ta'adam, says Shalom means the Beit HaMikdash has to be built. Very interesting, right? He describes peace as when the Beit HaMikdash is built. And it's very interesting. I don't want to get into it that much, but this machloket can also explain that there's a machloket between the Rambam and the Tashbetz about whether in the times of the Second Temple, whether they even fasted on Tisha B'Av, on the 9th of Av. The Tashbetz in Chilik Bet, Simon Reish Ayin Aleph says, no, they didn't fast. The Rambam says, for sure they fasted. And you can explain this by saying, why did the Rambam think that they fasted in the Second Temple? Because there was always Romans that were bothering them. Why does the Tashbet say they didn't? Because the second Beit HaMikdash was created. Again, as we said in the end, everyone agrees that in the Yemona Mashiach there will be no fast, and that is it. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me stop sharing. Okay, so I hope that was very interesting because, again, we never talk about, never talk about the fact that according to Rashi and according to many Rishonim, actually we shouldn't be fasting today. And definitely, Bizman Beit HaMikdash, when the Beit HaMikdash is rebuilt, we'll be totally fine. We want to fast on Shiva Shabbat Tammuz and on any of the other. It's in Parak Zion. Not entirely sure which pasuk. It's Zechariah Parak Zion. Okay.